On November 9, 2025, Mount Etna's slopes suddenly tear open, revealing a 2-kilometer fissure that scientists say should have been impossible. The official story points to an unexpected eruption, but the real truth starts with the ground rising 5 centimeters in just 48 hours and a magnitude 6.9 earthquake deep beneath the surface. Why did every warning sign fail, and what could this crack mean for the thousands living below Etna's shadow? Sentinel-1 interferograms captured in the hours before the fissure opened reveal a striking pattern, a broad zone of uplift stretching across Etna's southeastern flank. Color-wrapped displacement maps show the ground surface rising by up to 5 centimeters between November 7 and November 9, 2025. The deformation is sharply concentrated near the new crack, with the highest values aligned along a 2-kilometer segment that had shown only minor movement in previous months. On the ground, GNSS stations operated by the INGV Geodesy team registered a sudden velocity jump during the same period. Stations closest to the fissure recorded daily displacement rates that more than doubled compared to seasonal background trends, with vectors pointing both upward and eastward. Rate plots from ZAF1 and ETP1 stations show a clear inflection, confirming that the uplift was not gradual, but accelerated rapidly in the 48 hours before the crack appeared. Before and after displacement fields layered over high-resolution topography leave little doubt that the volcano's flank was swelling from below. The spatial match between the uplift zone and the fissure location points to a focused, pressurized intrusion at depth. This kind of ground movement, caught in near real time by satellite and GPS, offers quantitative proof that a powerful force was driving the surface apart from within. For Etna's monitoring teams, these measurements provided the first concrete evidence of an upward surge, prompting urgent recalculation of seismic risk and hazard models. Seismic instruments recorded a sharp escalation in earthquake activity beneath Etna's southeastern flank, beginning in the early hours of November 9. Hundreds of tremors clustered tightly between 8 and 10 kilometers below the surface, forming a dense band on depth time plots. At 3:42 a.m. local time, a magnitude 6.9 earthquake ruptured along a buried fault, shaking towns from Zaffarana Etnia to the lower slopes. The main shock was followed by a swarm of smaller quakes, each mapped with near-identical focal depths, tracing the upward path of pressurized magma. Tremor amplitude readings from INGV's seismic network show a steep, continuous rise throughout the morning. The tremor graph, normally a jagged line of low-level background noise, transformed into a sustained plateau, a hallmark of magma forcing its way through fractured rock. Seismologists at INGV note that the clustering of hypocenters, all within a narrow vertical window, is a classic sign of a dike intrusion. This pattern, rarely seen outside major eruptive sequences, signals that magma was not only rising, but actively prying open new pathways toward the surface. Dr. Alessia Romano, an INGV seismologist, described the sequence as a textbook example of magmatic intrusion, but on a far larger scale than we anticipated. She emphasized that the sudden jump in tremor and the tight band of earthquake depths both point to a dynamic upward push, one that left little time for warning. The seismic swarm, paired with the ground deformation already underway, confirmed that Etna's interior was under extraordinary pressure, setting the stage for the mechanical rupture that followed. Elastic modeling of November 2025 reveals the physical driver behind Etna's dramatic surface rupture. Finite element simulations, calibrated with both satellite and GNSS data, reconstruct a vertical sheet of magma, a dike, forcing its way upward and outward from 8 kilometers below the summit. The modeled geometry matches the observed deformation, a blade-like intrusion 1 to 2 kilometers wide, oriented eastward toward the volcano's unstable flank. Calculations estimate the injected volume at 10 to 100 million cubic meters, a scale sufficient to fracture rock and push the ground apart over a 2-kilometer stretch. Stress inversion of the earthquake swarm confirms this orientation, with extensional forces concentrated along mapped fault zones beneath the new fissure. Time series gas measurements add a second layer of evidence. Sentinel-5P satellite passes, analyzed by INGV's gas monitoring team, show a sharp spike in sulfur dioxide emissions beginning just hours before the crack appeared. Sulfur dioxide fluxes tripled, surpassing 6,000 tons per day. Those levels are rarely seen outside eruptive crises. This surge indicates that volatile charged magma not only reached shallow depths, but also began to degave violently as the overlying rock split apart. Dr. Gianni Corsaro, INGV's lead gas specialist, notes that such a rapid increase in sulfur dioxide is a hallmark of strong pressurization. When the system releases this much sulfur in so little time, it means the magma is breaking through new pathways. Together, the dike propagation models and gas data provide a coherent internal mechanism. A massive volatile charged intrusion, driven by deep overpressure, pried open the southeastern flank, producing the giant fissure and setting in motion the next phase of hazard assessment for the communities below. Hazard maps built from satellite and field data now draw a sharp boundary across Etna's unstable southeastern flank. The immediate risk zone centers on the Valle del Bove, where the ground has fractured and uplifted, and where numerical models show the highest probability for new lava outflow. While recent flows remain mostly contained within this deep valley, the threat of sudden lava extrusion or collapse lingers over the towns that border its rim. Giara, though outside the current high-probability lava paths, sits close enough to the eastern margin that any deviation in flow direction or a new fissure at lower elevation could rapidly change its outlook. The Alcantara Valley to the north lies beyond the main lava catchment, but is still at risk from ash fallout and potential debris flows if the volcano's flank destabilizes further. Catania's airspace, a vital corridor for Sicilian transport, faces intermittent closure as ash columns and drifting plumes threaten flight safety. Each of these zones is monitored in real time, with updated overlays showing where lava, collapse, and ash could strike first if Etna's unrest accelerates. Orange alert status now governs Etna's southeastern flank. INGV and Protezione Civile issue real-time bulletins updating hazard levels as new data arrives. Residents in Zafferana Etnea, Nicolosi, and other at-risk towns receive SMS alerts with clear instructions: avoid upper slopes, keep away from the fissure, and prepare for possible evacuation. Sirens set to a rising and falling tone signal an active pre-alert, distinct from the steady tone used for full evacuation. Access to summit trails and high-elevation areas is strictly forbidden above 2,500 meters, enforced by local authorities and carabinieri patrols. Municipal shelters such as schools and sports halls are unlocked and staffed for those needing assistance. Emergency kits containing water, food, medications, and important documents should be packed and ready. Vehicles must be fueled and communication devices kept charged. Civil protection teams remind residents to rely only on official channels: the Dipartimento Protezione Civile Sicilia website, INGV real-time bulletins, and municipal SMS systems. Updates are issued hourly or as needed, with all instructions overriding prior guidance if the situation escalates. Two distinct scenarios now guide the response on Etna's slopes. The first is stabilization. Ground movement slows, seismicity drops back toward background levels, and gas emissions return to seasonal baselines. In this case, INSAR displacement rates would fall below 3 millimeters per day. Earthquake clusters would sink deeper beneath the summit, and sulfur dioxide output would halve within a day or two. Monitoring teams would downgrade the alert only if all these changes persist together, signaling a pause in the magma's upward drive. The alternative is escalation. If satellite and GNSS data show uplift exceeding 3 millimeters per day, especially in the same sector as the fissure, or if earthquake swarms migrate to depths shallower than 5 kilometers, the risk of a new eruptive episode rises sharply. A doubling of sulfur dioxide emissions within 24 hours, well above 6,000 tons per day, would confirm that fresh magma is still forcing its way upward. Civil protection agencies rely on these thresholds as real-time triggers. Any combination of rapid deformation, shallow seismicity, and surging gas output prompts immediate review of evacuation plans and public safety guidance. The situation remains fluid, with every new data point carrying weight in the ongoing assessment of Etna's next move. Etna's new fissure forces scientists to rethink what we can predict. As Europe's most active volcano keeps shifting, risk maps and alert systems face real-time tests. Nature's boundaries move faster than our certainty, reminding us that even the best monitoring can't buy us complacency. Stay alert, stay informed,